Kia ora. Well, for many of us, it's a pretty decent looking Wednesday. Plenty of clear sky and settled weather with us as we head on in towards the nighttime, thanks to this area of high pressure. However, it's a fleeting affair. You can already see on these charts by the end of the day, the rain and cloud starting to push back on towards the western side of the South Island. And we are going to find some heavy rainfall over the next day or so, moving its way northwards, accompanied by some pretty strong northwesterly winds as well. As we head on in towards the night, you can see this rain continues to move in towards Fiordland, spreading that cloud across in towards Otago and Southland as well. And that rainfall spreading up the western side of the South Island. Up on the North Island, well, for many of us, it's a dry night. We are going to find that cloud thickening up around those western-facing areas. But places like, say, Wairarapa, Hawke's Bay, even up in towards the Bay of Plenty, up in towards Northland, generally looking like a pretty dry, clear night. In terms of our temperatures, we'll find them back down about 4s and 5s at the coldest through the North Island. And on the South Island, again, most spots staying above freezing, 3 degrees Celsius at your nighttime min for places like Christchurch. Now, as we go through in towards Thursday, you can see this wet weather moving northwards, heavy falls of rain in towards the ranges of Western, some of that rainfall making its way across in towards the east as well, but generally what we find on the eastern side of the South Island will be the winds picking up, especially through the Canterbury High Country. By the end of the day, that rain reaches to the top of the South Island, stronger winds ahead of it around the likes of Marlborough and Wellington, Wairarapa, and by the end of the day, we'll find a cloud thick enough to bring some spots of rain around the western-facing parts of the North Island, but for most of the day, it's just that cloud and that wind increasing across the North Island. But with this feature moving north, we are going to find there are some severe weather warnings and watches in place. The heaviest rainfall around places like the ranges of Westland and also crossing towards the Canterbury headwaters, really starting off during the daytime on Thursday, and that's with us through to about 9 p.m. for those areas of Westland. Rainfall totals are around about 120 to 160 millimetres of rain through there. The strongest winds that we'll find on the other side of the hills through the Canterbury High Country, again the strongest winds during the daytime on Thursday, and these watches you can see up across Wellington, Wairarapa and those northern parts of Marlborough, running from around about 8 p.m. on Thursday there. But do keep an eye on those winds, the strongest up through the Canterbury High Country, gusts of around about 120 kilometres an hour in the most exposed areas. The North Island, though, is probably a pretty decent looking start for many of us. There is more cloud being pushed in on these westerly facing areas. So places like Auckland, Waikato, down towards Taranaki and even towards Manawatu, keeping hold of more cloud through the daytime. Out towards the east, things generally drier and clearer. By the end of the day, you can see that cloud is starting to get thick enough to bring some spells of rain or drizzle, particularly up over the higher ground. And as we head in towards the evening and overnight, that'll get wetter and worse. We'll find also the winds picking up ahead of this next feature. You can see these arrows becoming slightly bigger and become more orange and red, a good indication of those winds increasing and streaming through the likes of Cook Strait. So an increasingly windy story for Wellington, but I think really the cloud thickening up through Wellington and some wet weather arriving in the evening. Now, in terms of our temperatures, we should find some pretty warm ones around that eastern side of the island. Back up to highs around about 20, 21 degrees Celsius for Hawke's Bay and up in towards Gisborne. Cooler where we have that wind coming in off the sea, 16s and 17s out towards Taranaki and up in towards Waikato. For Auckland, your highs of the day, 18 degrees Celsius. Not too bad for these final few days of September. Down on the South Island. Now, this is where we've got a lot of the weather through the daytime. We start off with that rain already in Fiordland and pushing across the more patchy affair through Southland and Otago. As we head through the daytime, the front that brings us wet weather continues to move northwards, bringing the heaviest of the rainfall up about the tops of the Southern Alps, but some of that rain reaching across in towards the eastern side of the island as well. But really, we'll find the strongest winds on that eastern side and the heaviest rainfall even up in towards the north there. Cold air coming back in behind it, and the combination of that and some showers will mean we'll find some snow down to around about 300 or 400 metres through parts of Southland and Otago by the end of the day. But I think really it's much more of a showery affair, and you can see there's some good clear skies returning once that band of wet weather clears through. So do keep an eye on those severe weather watches and warnings. You can find all of that information over on the Met Service website. Now, in terms of our temperatures, some pretty good firn effect going on around the likes of, say, Christchurch. That combination of those northwesterlies keeping some pretty warm temperatures there. 19, 20 degrees Celsius set for you in Christchurch. A great looking day there. What we'll find, though, is once we get into the night time, we lose that warm air And we're in something a little bit cooler. So our nighttime temperatures are much cooler than we'll see overnight tonight. Back down below freezing through places like Queenstown and Alexandra to start the day on Friday. Now for Friday, that wet weather moves on towards the North Island. Some heavier falls about the tops of, say, Taranaki, Moonga, and towards the likes of the central high country as well. That rain takes its time to clear. By the end of the day in Auckland, I think you'll still find that rain just about hanging on before it brightens up in the evening there. But you'll find as well we're back into those southwesterlies. So some clearer skies across the South Island for Friday, a better day for you, a drier day, should I say. But we will find still some showers pushing in towards the eastern side of the North Island, even by the end of the day after that first lot of rain is cleared through. Out towards the Tasman Sea, high pressure looking to build across for the weekend. So hopefully a little bit more in the way of settled and dry weather as we head towards the weekend itself. That's it from me. There's more at metservice.com.